Hey girl, let's talk about 5 habits that you're more than likely normalizing but that are completely destroying your confidence and your self-worth without you even realizing it. The thing is that your lack of confidence and your lack of self-worth is not random. What you don't realize is that you're silently draining and killing your confidence by doing these things. So from woman to woman, I promise you that by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what those things are, how to avoid them, and most importantly, how to call back your power. I want you to be your most confident and assured version of yourself like I know you can be. So let's go ahead and start with the first one, which is negative self-talk. You need to become more aware of how you talk to yourself because your inner voice is more critical and more harsh than you even realize. Think about the things you say to yourself and that you think about when you do something that you're not proud of. Like when you say the wrong thing or when you make the wrong decision. Think about the type of thoughts that you have when you regret something that you did. And even how you look at yourself overall. A lot of times our inner dialogue becomes our worst enemy without you even realizing it. In that moment, you start saying really mean things about yourself. When you say something that was embarrassing or that didn't make sense, your first thoughts are, why did I say that? I sounded so stupid. Everyone probably thinks I'm weird now. I should have just stayed quiet. I can't even speak properly. And then what happens is that now your confidence has been chipped away. Next time you want to speak to a stranger or next time you want to speak publicly, you're going to be afraid of doing that, of messing up. What about the things you say to yourself when you look at yourself in the mirror? Maybe you're saying things like, I don't like my body. I wish I had more of this and less of that. My nose makes me ugly, or whatever part of yourself you don't like. The problem is that you focus and point out the parts of yourself you don't like your insecurities, instead of the things you admire, instead of the things that you do like. Think about those moments when you're not believing in yourself, when you're not feeling motivated. You're probably thinking to yourself, I'm just too lazy. I'm never going to change. Or I'll never get my life together. In that moment, I'll never make it. It's not possible for me. I knew I couldn't do it. And you probably even do this while comparing yourself to other people. You probably think about how much better, how much prettier, how much smarter, how much more successful everyone is than you. You think things like, that'll never be me. Everyone else has it figured out except me. And we're going to dive even deeper on how to overcome comparison in step number 3. But for now, I want you to truly reflect on these examples and think about how you are subconsciously saying similar things to yourself. Here's the thing. The things that you say to yourself are not just words that you're saying to yourself. You're actually creating a belief in your mind by repeating these things to yourself. You're literally rewiring your brain and creating new neural pathways when you repeat these thoughts. This is called neuroplasticity, and it's exactly how the brain works. It's through repetition. So if these are the type of thoughts you're having the majority of time, of course you're going to believe them. So becoming aware of when you're having these type of thoughts is the first step in changing them. Because how are you possibly going to feel more confident in yourself and feel worthy of receiving more in your life when this is how you think about yourself? A confident person does not think this way about themselves. No way, Jose. Here's how you're going to trick your brain into positive self-talk, and I don't want to hear that it's hard, that even if you try this and that it doesn't work, and blah, 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 blah. That's just your negative thinking, and we're going to cut that out right now. Instead, what you're going to do is apply the techniques I'm about to share with you, which is going to help you to beat negative self-talk every single time. The first thing is very simple. I just want you to recognize that you just had a negative self-thought. I want you to become aware of it because this is something that is normal to you. You don't even realize it that you're doing it most of the time. And then from there, as soon as you realize you just bullied yourself, as soon as you have those negative thoughts, you're going to follow it up with a positive thought. I don't care what you just said about yourself, but I want you to make it a thing, to make it a rule that anytime you say something bad and negative about yourself, you also have to say something nice and kind about yourself. And please do not underestimate the power of these techniques, because affirming yourself with something positive will lead to you creating new beliefs about yourself. You're going to go from that was dumb and embarrassing of me, oh wow, that was brave of me for even trying, I'm impressed by myself. You're going to go from I knew I'd mess this up like I do with everything else to I tried my best, I learned my lesson, and next time I'll know better. From I knew I wasn't good enough to I am deserving of all things and I am capable of doing whatever I choose to believe in. I want you to come up with your own mantras because they're going to resonate with you at a deeper level. They'll penetrate your mind, your subconscious mind, a lot more deeper than just saying some random mantras. But if you do this every single time you say something negative about yourself, I guarantee you that this will eventually become your truth. It'll feel like like it's true, like it's real, and not in a false or fake way. Even if at first it kind of feels a little off, eventually you're going to become more compassionate about yourself, which is exactly what you need to stop negative self-talk. You just need to give yourself some grace, to have more patience, to be more kind with yourself. You need to be understanding of when you mess up, and just talk to yourself like you would to someone that you care about, like you would talk to a child. Make a habit out of treating yourself softly, because you deserve to be kind to yourself. And I'm not saying this to sound cliche. You need to be your biggest supporter, and that starts with the type of thoughts that you have about yourself. The second thing that is quietly killing your confidence and your self-worth is seeking for external validation. How can you possibly feel self-assured and worthy of receiving things when you rely on other people's approval, on other people's opinions and praise or attention to feel good about yourself and to feel good about the choices that you make? The problem with needing to know that you're pretty enough, smart enough, capable enough, or that you're doing a good job all of the time is that instead of you trusting in your inner voice and knowing this from within, you constantly look for external validation of how good you're doing, of how good you look, or of how worthy you are. And that is not true confidence. True confidence comes from within, from knowing and accepting yourself just as you are. Because it's like you only feel valuable and special if someone compliments you, if they support you, if they agree with what you said. And the moment that people don't, you feel invalidated. You start to spiral. You start to question your worth. You don't feel as confident. And the other thing with external validation is that because you rely on others and not yourself, you'll start to second guess yourself. You'll start to second guess your decisions, your appearance, how you sound, and even your work. This is how you become indecisive and always rely on someone else to tell you what to do, because you're waiting for someone else to tell you that you're good enough. And I have an entire video dedicated to teaching you how to self-validate and never question your worth again. So if this is something you struggle with, like sometimes I still do, then I'll tag it up here and also in the description down below for you to check out. What you need to understand is this: as long as you like yourself, that's all that fucking matters. If you post something and it doesn't get enough likes, it doesn't mean you need to delete it now, because again, who the fuck cares? If you care, that's what matters. You need to validate yourself. You don't need to constantly ask your best friend or 5 different people for advice on what you should do, because you probably already got the gut feeling. You probably already know what you should do. You just don't trust yourself. You don't need to wait for someone to tell you to do something to do it. If you want to start a business, or you've been having the gut feeling that you need to leave a certain relationship, or you're feeling this calling to change your lifestyle around, or to start a habit, or to do something new, you should be able to primarily trust in yourself and make decisions on your own before consulting or taking in what someone else has to say about that. Here's how you're going to start validating yourself. I want you to ask yourself this question anytime that you're going to post something, anytime you're going to say something, when you're about to wear a certain outfit or start a certain project, a business idea. And even ask yourself this question when you're about to ask someone for advice. What do I think and feel about this? Think about this question and answer yourself, and then you can maybe hear somebody else's perspective and opinion, and not so that you can change your mind or to seek for validation, just to see if there's anything else that you can add or consider. This is what's going to rebuild your sense of self-trust. Instead of asking and thinking, what do you think I should do? It's what feels right to me right now, and trust that. The second best thing that you can do is to say to yourself what you wish other people would say to you. In other words, just validate yourself. Instead of waiting for someone to tell you how amazing you did, how beautiful you look, practice giving that to yourself first. Literally, say it out loud or even write it down. Say to yourself, I'm proud of how I showed up for myself today. Or I love the way that I put myself together today. My opinion and my voice matters, because again, your brain will start taking this as truth the more that you do it. And okay, I'm gonna let you watch the video I mentioned on how to self-validate to get the other tips on how to self-validate, because I could literally talk about this all day. This is something I personally struggled with and still do sometimes to this day, because I don't always catch it or realize it, but I'm actively and always trying my best to be aware and to change it. Anyways, if you want to dive deeper and more in depth, then watch the video. I say this all the time and I'll say it again. How you look is how you feel. Keeping up with your appearance should be non-negotiable because taking time out to have a self-care routine is a form of self-love. It's an investment. It's a way to pour into yourself. If you're someone who doesn't already prioritize their appearance, then I highly recommend that you start doing it, because although true confidence comes from within, you also want to radiate that confidence externally. You also want it to show, right? Think about it. How do you feel when you're out and about with your hair a mess and in a baggy t-shirt? You probably don't want to be approached by anyone. You probably don't even want anyone to look at you or talk to you, and you simply don't feel your best. Now think about when you're wearing an outfit that makes you feel sexy, that makes you feel secure, or that just makes you feel pretty. Doesn't it just feel good? You feel like you can move around more confidently, more freely. This is the type of energy you want to carry with you as often as you can. Not just when you're going out to an event, but even when you're running your errands. Put on the nice, comfortable outfit on. Put on something that you feel and look good in. Clean yourself up before heading out. Comb your hair a little bit. And maybe you don't have to put on a full face of makeup on, but maybe put on a little bit of mascara and some lip gloss on before you head out, before you go on about your day. I'm telling you, this may not sound like a huge deal, but it definitely makes a difference in how you feel when you do these things. You have to know that dressing up and taking care of yourself is just another way of exuding confidence. Think of the woman you admire and find magnetic. What do you think makes them appear so alluring? I guarantee you that the way that they look and the way that they carry themselves plays a huge part in their magnetism and how confident they appear to be. So think of ways to radiate your confidence in your own unique way, because despite belief, this too matters. And it's also a really fun way to bring alive and to play with your feminine energy, with your feminine side. You get to play dress up in a way. And why wouldn't you want to do that? So let's talk about some things that you should do to feel like your most confident and radiant self. The first thing is that you should always have a skincare routine. And this doesn't have to be anything crazy. It could just be where you're doing a face mask once a week, where you're doing weekly exfoliation, and where you're moisturizing on a daily basis. Think of it of just having maintenance with yourself and your body. Think about your smells. What products are you using? What perfumes? What soaps? What oils do you use to have a nice fragrance? To leave your mark when you walk in a room, when someone comes in and hugs you, when they walk past you. You want them sort of turning their head like, oh, what was that smell? And also think about your posture. How do you walk in a room? How do you sit down? How do you move from one point to another? Are you moving slowly, gracefully, intentionally, seductively? And this is where you really get to play with your dark feminine energy. And if you don't know anything about dark feminine energy, I got you. I also have an entire video on feminine energy as well, because this is truly how you embody your most confident and radiant self. But really, all you want to do is become more mindful of standing up straight with your shoulders relaxed and your spine straight. And of course, and in case you don't know this already, you want to think about your hygiene. You want to think about your oral hygiene, like brushing and flossing your teeth. Think about keeping a healthy pH balance and using products that are going to help you do that, or eating the right food, or eating foods that are going to help you maintain a healthy and regulated pH balance. And really, just shower every day. There's no reason you should go a day without showering. And of course, think about what you wear, what clothing and colors you feel most confident in. Not just what's trending, not just what somebody else is wearing, but what feels good to you and your body shape. And the last thing that you can do to take care of your physical appearance is to have physical movement. Become fit. You can simply go for walks. You can go running. You can join the gym. You can do yoga. There's so many different forms of incorporating physical movement so that you can look good and feel good. There's really no excuses. One of the best ways that I love to take care of my physical appearance, and also something that also saves me a lot of time, is doing the things that I only have to do once and that save me time later. I'll get my hair done once a week so that I don't have to do it every single day. Sometimes I put on lash extensions so that I'm not always having to do them and put on mascara. I always keep my eyebrows clean or plugged, whatever, so that they already look neat and in place. And I love using lip tints to have pinkish lips all day. Basically, you just want to pamper yourself and invest the time and energy into yourself, because it pays off. The fourth bad habit that you have, and one of the sneakiest confidence and self-worth killers is comparison. And no one escapes this one. We all compare ourselves one way or another. The problem with comparing yourself is that you measure your level of worth, your level of success, your level of beauty, the progress in your life against someone else's journey, against someone else's life. And more often than not, you're really just comparing your life to someone else's highlight. You see people posting and talking about their achievements. You see their aesthetic and super luxurious life, the perfect life, like everything is just going so great for them on social media. But no one has a perfect life, believe me. People choose what they want other people to see about themselves, even in person. How often do you see people posting about the challenging times or what it took to get to where they're at? You don't see people crying on social media. You don't see their accounts in the negatives. You don't really see them looking a mess at that. You barely see people without makeup nowadays. And even those that are genuinely doing good in life, that are not posting to put on a show, they still went on through a process. And you have to remember this. They too had doubts and obstacles and challenges to overcome. And this is what you typically compare yourself to. It's just that now you're just seeing them at the top. You're seeing them at the finish line. And by comparing yourself to these things, you're destroying your identity, the way that you view yourself, and you're increasing self-doubt. What you don't realize is this. When you compare yourself to someone else's perfect morning routine, or when you see someone else making more money than you, when you see someone else getting more recognition than you start feeling like you're falling behind in life. You start feeling like you're not capable of those same things. You start reminding yourself that you're not disciplined enough to get up early enough in the morning to have a nice, perfect little morning routine like they do. You start feeling like other people are ahead of you in life because you see them being more successful and having more money than you, which makes you feel discouraged, which then makes you feel unmotivated, and it makes you feel insecure. And you're not going to feel motivated or inspired to take action when you feel all these awful things about yourself. It's actually going to lead you to do the opposite. You're going to want to give up and not even try because you're going to feel like you're not good enough. You're going to question what the point in trying even is. And I mean, come on, let's be real. Trying alone is already too much. So here are 3 things you can do to stop comparing yourself as of right now. Number 1 is going to be to interrupt false thoughts with true statements. When you catch yourself comparing yourself, take a moment to pause and say, their path is not my path. I'm just as worthy of that lifestyle, if not more. I'm only seeing a highlight, not the entire truth. In that moment, you want to remind yourself that what you're seeing or hearing may not be the entire truth, and that someone else's achievement doesn't mean that you're less worthy of you having the same things, of you being worthy of shining as well. And the second thing you're going to do is to shift comparison to inspiration. And this is actually one of my favorite ones. I personally use it all of the time. I love turning jealousy into hope, into motivation. Instead of you thinking, why don't I have that? Think to yourself, how can I start attracting that for myself? Think about what actions you can take today to start getting you closer to that desired reality, to that thing that you see someone else having. That perfect loving relationship that you see, and that perfect body that you see someone having. Let that inspire you to take action instead of feeling sorry for yourself, instead of judging yourself. I don't know, but when I see other people succeeding, when I see other people having the things that I feel are possible for me, I look at it as, if they can do it, if they have it, so can I. I look at it as possibilities. So I get really excited when I see people succeeding and achieving their goals, because I'm like, oh my God, that's gonna be me. Oh my God, that's possible for me too. And I do this a lot with my YouTube channel. As I'm growing this channel and growing a community, and yes, I'm not exactly where I want to be right now, but when I see other channels that are in the same niche, I think, oh my goodness, that is going to be me one day, with this beautiful and supportive community one day. And the third thing that you're going to do is to simply focus on your journey and not someone else's. You need to understand and know that no one reaches success, wealth, or find the love of their life in the same exact way or in the same exact timing. You are unique, and yes, things may be unfolding for you differently, but it doesn't mean that you won't ever have that in your life as well. And this is a hard pill to swallow, right? Because again, we're comparing ourselves. I used to do this a lot, but why can't I have it now? Why can't it just happen for me? Because we get impatient. But the thing is that you can't win a race while looking sideways. You need to focus on your own path. And a really great way to remind yourself of how far you've come and where you're going, journal about this, or just go in your notes app every day. And at the end of the day, write down something that you love about your journey and something that you improved at that day. Write down your wins, no matter how small they are. You need to recognize yourself and praise yourself and remind yourself that you're also doing good. You're also making progress, even if small. I don't care if someone else's channel who's in a similar niche got 100,000 views and mine got 50 or 100. That is still 50 and 100 people. But I could also be the type of person to look at those numbers and say, mine is not good enough. I'm never gonna get to 50,000 views because I'm only getting 50 views. But I'm choosing not to be that person. I'm choosing to celebrate my 50 views as well. Number 5 is one that often feels very subtle in the moment because you don't realize how deeply it affects you until after the fact. And this is not following through with what you say you're going to do. It's when you break your own promises. And what you don't realize is that this is the number one way to break self-trust. And without self-trust, you can't be confident in yourself. They go hand in hand. It's like the legs on a table. Think about how you feel when someone doesn't keep their promise towards you. When they tell you that they're going to do something or not do something and they don't actually withhold that. You lose respect in them, right? You don't really trust them the same way. Well, the same thing happens when you tell yourself, I'm going to wake up earlier going forward. I'll start eating healthy. I'll finally start my business. But then you don't. When you do this, you're actually sending a message to your subconscious mind that says, I can't trust myself. And in the future, when you actually want to start something new, you instantly doubt yourself. Why? Because the last time you said you would do something, you didn't actually keep your word. So your brain at this point identifies you as someone that says they're going to do something and then never does. And I know all too well what this is like because I used to do this all of the time. My lack of discipline and consistency was terrible. This is when I was terribly disconnected from my masculine energy because women too need masculine energy. So here are 3 effective and easy ways in which you're going to build self-trust and also stop breaking your own promises. The very first thing that you need to start doing is to start setting realistic and achievable goals for yourself. It's better to start out small than to overpromise and overcommit. Instead of saying that you're going to meditate for 30 minutes, say that you're going to sit in silence or meditate for 5 minutes today. Instead of promising that you're going to wake up at 6 a.m. every single day going forward, commit to waking up 30 minutes before your usual time for a whole week. And then actually do it. Show your brain that you mean what you say. And then on the following week, you can do it for a little bit longer. Now you're going to meditate for 10 minutes. Now you're going to wake up 45 minutes earlier than your usual time until you build that habit. At the end of the day, building self-trust is about what you do and not so much about what you say, right? So you need to say less and do more. You need to just do the thing that you said you would do or that you would not do. Let your actions speak louder than your plans. Focus on your actions and not what you're declaring, not what you're saying. You need to come up with a plan on how you're actually going to do those things and make it easy for yourself. If you want to start meal prepping, then you need to write down the meals that you're going to cook and you need to go grocery shopping ahead of time or at least a day before. This way you're prepared to meal prep and you don't end up changing your mind later because you still haven't brought groceries, you still don't know what you're going to make, and now it's all too much. Same thing if you want to cut off drinking. Don't buy wine and keep it in your kitchen where it's easily accessible. And if you're going out with friends, make it clear to them that you don't want to drink anymore. And if they're your real friends, they're gonna support you with that. And the third thing that you're going to do is very simple. It's simply to create a self-trust tracker. Every single time that you follow through with something, I want you to check it off. I want you to recognize it because this is going to build proof that you can show up for yourself just like you've built prove that you typically don't show up for yourself, you can do the opposite. Following through with your words is the biggest sign of self-respect and self-love. So show yourself the same loyalty, dedication, and consideration that you show those you care about. This is what I'm talking about, because I feel like we often do these things for other people and it's easy to be there, to not break our promises with other people, but with ourselves is a whole different story. True confidence is not about always feeling confident. It's about how you show up for yourself and how you show up in the world despite how confident you feel. And knowing your worth is simply prioritizing yourself. It's being aware of your emotional and mental needs and attending to them. It's knowing your value and not tolerating less than that, not even from yourself. So changing these 5 habits we just talked about and working on them is a great place to start being a more embodied and self-assured version of yourself. So tell me, which one of these 5 habits did you relate to the most? Is there something that you realized throughout this video that you weren't aware of before? And what I really want to know is, what is it that you're going to be doing going forward to change that? Okay, my loves, until the next time, see ya!